A woman who walks alone with no husband is not a woman who is lost. She is not broken. She is not incomplete. And she is certainly not waiting for someone to complete her. She is a force. A fire that refuses to be extinguished. A soul that moves through the world with purpose, strength, and undeniable power. The world may whisper in her ear that she needs a hand to hold, a man to guide her, a partner to define her. But she knows something they don't. She is already whole. She is already enough. She is already unstoppable. A woman who walks alone is not incomplete. This is a truth that defies centuries of conditioning, a reality that challenges everything society has told her she should be. From a young age, she is taught that life is a journey meant to be walked hand in hand with someone else. She is told that happiness comes in pairs, that fulfillment is found in union, that a woman without a husband is somehow missing a vital piece of herself. But the truth is far more powerful. She is already whole. She is not waiting to be completed because she was never incomplete to begin with. The world loves to romanticize the idea of being chosen. It tells stories of women being swept off their feet, of grand proposals and lifelong commitments, as if love is the ultimate validation of a woman's existence. But she knows better. She knows that her worth is not defined by who chooses her, but by how she chooses herself. She understands that love, while beautiful, is not the foundation of her existence. She does not measure her success by the presence of a ring on her finger, nor does she believe that her life is any less meaningful without someone by her side. She walks alone not because she has failed, but because she has chosen a path where she is the author of her own destiny. For many, the idea of a woman standing alone is unsettling. They see it as unnatural, as if solitude is a punishment rather than a privilege. They assume she must be lonely, that she must secretly long for a partner, that she must be quietly hoping for someone to fill the space beside her. But what they fail to see is the immense power in her solitude. She has embraced a life that is entirely her own, one where she answers to no one but herself. She is free to dream without limits, to build without compromise, to live without seeking permission. Her solitude is not avoided; it is a space she has filled with purpose, passion, and the unwavering belief that she is enough. There is a strength that comes with standing alone, a kind of resilience that only those who have walked through fire can understand. She has faced the whispers, the questioning glances, the unspoken judgments of those who cannot comprehend why she has chosen this path. She has heard the well-meaning voices telling her that time is running out, that she should settle before it is too late, that happiness is found in the arms of another. But she does not waver. She does not let their fears become her own. She stands firm in the knowledge that her life is not dictated by timelines, by traditions, or by the expectations of others. She moves at her own pace, builds her life in her own way, and refuses to let the world define what fulfillment looks like for her. She has discovered a love that many never find, the love of self. It is not a love that is built overnight. It is one that has been forged through trials, through heartbreak, through the moments when she felt like she had nothing but herself to rely on. She has learned to be her own greatest source of comfort, her own protector, her own provider. She does not seek validation from others because she has already given it to herself. She does not chase after love because she has already found it within her own heart. This love is unshakable. It does not waver in the absence of a partner, nor does it fade when others fail to understand it. It is a love that is rooted in the deepest parts of her soul, a love that reminds her every single day that she is, and always has been, complete. There is a misconception that a woman who walks alone has something to prove, that she is trying to make a statement or rebel against the norm. But she is not walking this path for anyone but herself. She is not seeking attention, nor is she trying to convince the world of her strength. She simply lives as she chooses, unapologetically and without hesitation. She does not need to be understood. She does not need to explain herself. She walks alone because she trusts herself enough to know that her journey is hers to take, regardless of who walks beside her. To walk alone is to embrace a kind of freedom that many will never experience. It is to wake up every morning with the knowledge that every decision is yours, every dream is within your reach, and every step forward is one that you take on your own terms. It is to know that happiness does not come from another person but from the life you build for yourself. She is not missing a piece of herself. She is not waiting for someone to complete her story. She is the author, the protagonist, and the hero of her own journey, and that is the most powerful truth of all. She chooses herself over societal expectations because for too long society has tried to define her worth through external validation. From an early age, she is taught that she must fit into a certain mold, be a certain kind of woman, behave a certain way, and, most importantly, find a partner to complete her. Society often paints the picture that a woman's happiness, fulfillment, and purpose are bound to her relationships, to her ability to be loved by another. But she knows deep in her soul that her worth is not determined by the presence of a partner. She does not need to follow a prescribed path laid out by others to find happiness. Instead, she has learned to walk a road of her own design, guided not by the expectations of others, but by her own sense of self-worth and ambition. The societal narrative tells her that there is something wrong with walking alone. That without a husband, without a partner, she must be incomplete, broken, or somehow unworthy of love. They say she should be looking for someone to share her life with, that her value lies in her ability to attract and keep a man. But she chooses to redefine what it means to live a fulfilling life. She refuses to buy into the notion that her happiness depends on someone else. She understands that happiness does not come from being attached to another person, but from the strength and peace she cultivates within herself. Choosing herself means recognizing that her desires, her dreams, and her happiness matter just as much as anyone else's. She chooses to honor her needs, her ambitions, and her journey even when it goes against the grain of societal expectations. Choosing herself over societal expectations is not a decision made in haste. It is a choice that comes from years of understanding who she truly is, what she values, and what she deserves. She has spent time learning about her strengths, confronting her fears, and developing the kind of resilience that only comes from experiencing hardship and rising from it. She has found that to truly be happy, she must honor her own needs first, even when the world tells her that doing so is selfish. It is not selfish to prioritize your well-being, your growth, and your happiness. It is necessary. Without that foundation of self-love, she knows that nothing, not even a relationship, can truly bring her the fulfillment she seeks. For years, she may have been told that to be complete, she needs a partner by her side. The world has a way of making her feel as though she is less than whole if she is walking alone. But the truth is that she does not need anyone to make her feel complete. She has spent time building a life she loves, a life that is rich with purpose, meaning, and joy. She has learned to build a foundation of happiness that stands strong on its own, without relying on anyone else to prop it up. The relationships she has with friends, family, and even herself are the ones that matter most. They are the ones that shape her sense of worth and joy. She chooses to focus on these relationships because they are rooted in mutual respect, love, and understanding rather than the fleeting, external validation that often comes from a romantic relationship. Choosing herself is not a rejection of love. It is not saying that she does not desire love, connection, or partnership. It is simply a recognition that she can experience love in many forms, and she can be happy and fulfilled without needing to conform to a conventional idea of what life should look like. She loves herself first, and from that place of self-love, she is able to give love in the most authentic and genuine way. She knows that when she chooses herself, she becomes a magnet for the right kind of love, a love that adds to her life, rather than one that takes away from it. The right partner, she understands, will not complete her, but will complement her life, support her growth, and walk beside her on her journey without taking away from her individuality or independence. Her journey is unique, and it is hers alone. Society may try to box her into a narrative that says she must find love in a traditional way, but she has learned to reject that limiting idea. She refuses to let external pressures determine how she should live or who she should be. She has found the courage to walk her own path, even when it leads her in a direction others may not understand. She chooses the life she wants to create, one step at a time, without being swayed by what others think or expect of her. She has learned that to truly live authentically, she must remain true to herself, even if it means standing apart from the crowd. In the end, choosing herself is the most empowering decision she can make. It is the decision to put her happiness and well-being above all else, to prioritize her growth and peace, and to stand firm in the belief that she is enough just as she is. When she chooses herself, she becomes free, not just free from the pressures of society, but free to live a life that is aligned with her truest desires and aspirations. She knows that she is not defined by the roles others expect her to play. She is defined by the strength, resilience, and power she finds within herself as she walks her path, with or without a partner. Her strength comes from within, and this truth becomes evident in the quiet moments when there is no one else to lean on, no one else to guide her through the storm. It is during these times of solitude, when the world seems to pause, that she taps into the deep well of resilience that resides within her. She has faced the harshest of battles, some seen, many unseen, yet she continues to rise. She does not wait for a savior to appear, and she does not rely on others to fix her. She has learned the power of self-reliance, knowing that true strength comes not from what the world gives her, but from what she has cultivated within herself. There was a time, perhaps, when she questioned whether she was strong enough to carry on. There were moments of doubt, of weakness, of feeling like the weight of the world was too much to bear. But those moments became the very foundation of her strength. She learned that strength does not come from avoiding pain, but from enduring it and growing through it. It is the ability to stand up after every fall, to find a way to smile even when her heart feels heavy, and to keep moving forward, one step at a time, when it feels easier to stop. In those moments of pain and uncertainty, she discovered that she had within her the power to face anything life threw her way. She was her own hero long before anyone else could see it. She has faced rejection, heartbreak, and disappointment just like anyone else. But what sets her apart is that she does not let these experiences define her. She understands that her past does not have to dictate her future, and that every setback is merely a stepping stone on the path to greater strength. She knows that the struggles she has faced have only made her more capable, more resourceful, and more determined. Her scars, both visible and invisible, are a testament to her resilience, not her weakness. Each one tells a story of survival, of rising again, of overcoming the odds. And as she continues to walk her path, she carries these stories with her, knowing that they have shaped her into the powerful woman she is today. There are those who might look at her and think she is invincible, that she never falters or feels fear. But she knows that true strength is not about being invulnerable. True strength is about embracing vulnerability and still standing tall. It is about acknowledging the fear and doubt, but not letting them control her. She understands that strength is not the absence of weakness, it is the courage to face weakness and keep moving forward despite it. She has learned that vulnerability is not something to be ashamed of, but something to embrace. It is through vulnerability that she has found the courage to keep growing, to keep learning, and to keep becoming the woman she is destined to be. Her strength also comes from the deep sense of purpose that drives her every day. She does not wake up each morning in search of validation or approval from others. She wakes up with the intention to make the most of her day, to live with purpose, to fulfill her own dreams, and to be the best version of herself. She has learned to trust in her own abilities, to believe in her own potential, and to know that she is capable of achieving anything she sets her mind to. Her sense of purpose is what keeps her going when the road gets tough, when the obstacles seem insurmountable. It is what gives her the courage to face each challenge head-on, knowing that every hurdle is an opportunity for growth. She has learned to trust herself, to listen to her inner voice, and to act on her own instincts. She no longer relies on external validation to feel worthy or capable. She has discovered that the most powerful voice she can listen to is the one within her own heart. It is through this deep self-trust that she has unlocked the full potential of her strength. She knows that no matter what happens in her life, she has the power to navigate through it, to adapt, and to overcome. She does not need anyone else to tell her what she is capable of. She already knows. When the world tells her that she needs someone to complete her, she knows better. She has learned that the only person who can complete her is herself. Her strength is not measured by the presence of a partner or the validation of others. It is measured by her ability to stand tall, to live with purpose, and to keep moving forward, even when the path seems uncertain. She is her own anchor, her own support, and her own guide. She knows that true strength comes from within, and she has built a life that reflects this understanding. The strength she possesses is not a fleeting moment of power, it is a constant, unshakable force that drives her every day. It is the result of years of self-discovery, of learning to trust herself, and of facing adversity with courage and grace. She has become the woman she is because of the strength that has always resided within her, waiting to be unleashed. And as she continues to walk through life, she carries that strength with her, knowing that there is nothing she cannot face and nothing she cannot overcome. She embraces solitude as a source of power, not as a weakness. The world often tells women that being alone is something to fear, that it is a sign of failure, or that a life without a partner is incomplete. But she knows better. She has discovered that solitude is not loneliness, it is freedom. It is the space where she meets herself fully, without distractions, without expectations, without the noise of the world telling her who she should be. She has learned that being alone does not mean being abandoned or unloved. It means being at peace with herself, comfortable in her own company, and strong enough to stand without needing someone else to hold her up. She used to fear solitude, as many do. There was a time when silence felt overwhelming, when an empty house seemed to echo with doubt and longing. But then something changed. She stopped running from it. She stopped filling the silence with meaningless distractions, with temporary companionship, with anything that kept her from facing herself. She allowed herself to sit in the stillness, to listen to her own thoughts, to understand her own heart. And in doing so, she found something extraordinary. She found herself. She realized that solitude is not something to escape from, but something to embrace. It is where true self-discovery happens. It is in those moments of quiet reflection that she has learned who she truly is, what she wants, and what she will no longer accept. She has come to see solitude as a sanctuary, a place where she can recharge, reconnect, and realign with her purpose. She does not fill her life with meaningless noise or people who drain her energy just to avoid being alone. Instead, she chooses to spend time with herself intentionally. She enjoys her own company, values her own thoughts, and treats herself with the love and respect she deserves. She does not see being alone as a void that needs to be filled, but as a gift that allows her to grow, heal, and thrive. She has built a life where she is her own greatest source of strength, where her happiness does not depend on another person's presence, but on her own ability to create joy and fulfillment for herself. She moves through life with the confidence of someone who knows that solitude is not a burden but a privilege. She does not settle for relationships that do not align with her values just to avoid being alone. She does not cling to people out of fear of emptiness. She understands that being alone is not the same as being lonely. Loneliness is the absence of connection, but solitude is the presence of self, and she is deeply connected to herself. She has cultivated a relationship with herself that is rich, fulfilling, and unshakable. She does not need someone else to complete her because she is already whole. She does not rely on external validation to feel loved because she has learned to love herself fully. Her solitude gives her the freedom to live on her own terms. She makes decisions based on what is best for her, not on what others expect of her. She has the space to explore her passions, to chase her dreams, and to build a life that reflects her deepest desires. She does not wait for someone to come along and give her a purpose. She creates her own purpose. She has learned that solitude is where she finds clarity, where she hones her intuition, where she strengthens her sense of self. It is in the quiet moments when the world is still that she hears her own voice the loudest. And that voice is powerful, wise, and unwavering. She walks through life with an unshakable sense of self because she has taken the time to truly know herself. She has faced her fears, confronted her insecurities, and learned to love herself in a way that no one else ever could. She has built a life where solitude is not a punishment but a source of empowerment. She is not waiting for someone to come and make her life meaningful. Her life is already meaningful, just as it is. She does not see solitude as an empty space but as a canvas on which she paints the life she desires. She does not need a partner to feel complete because she has already found completeness within herself. If love comes, she will welcome it, but she will never need it to feel whole. She has broken free from the belief that her worth is tied to someone else's presence in her life. She understands that true love, whether from others or from herself, is not about filling a void, it is about sharing an already full and abundant life. She has built a life that she loves, a life where she is the main character, where her happiness is not dependent on someone else's actions or decisions. She is not afraid to walk alone because she knows that she is never truly alone. She has herself, and that is enough. She stands tall in a world that often tells her she should be afraid of solitude. She does not shrink, she does not doubt, she does not second-guess the power she has found in being alone. She embraces it, she celebrates it, and she uses it as the foundation for a life of independence, strength, and purpose. She does not see solitude as a limitation but as an opportunity. It is the space where she grows, where she heals, where she creates the life she has always dreamed of. And as she walks through life, whether alone or with others, she carries that strength with her, knowing that she is enough exactly as she is.